All right, people. Facebook people, welcome to another session in the artist studio. I've been in the habit of drawing, sketching the paintings. I didn't used to do this, but lately I've been like, let's do it. Right now I'm going to do a still life, okay? With some flowers on a base, a very simple still life, but that carries a lot of awesomeness. Thank you so much for joining me. This is it is a privilege to be able to share my art with you guys. It really is a one hell of a thing to do this. I'm very excited. It wasn't always like this. I painted in solitude, as many of my fellow artists would know. But, you know, thanks to this Facebook Live, YouTube, all this stuff, and I'm a young guy. It's not like it hasn't been around, but I chose not to. I chose to buy into the whole, I'll do it alone, by myself. I don't need to be showing my work. I bought into that whole thing, and now I've seen the light. It's like, don't do that, dude. Don't do that, Some fruit back here, okay. Our light source will be coming from back there, or this area. And here I am going to be putting some horizontal because I've made my base right in the middle, okay? So I violated the rule of thirds in some way, but because I want to. Because I feel like it, okay? So here will be your I guess your rule of thirds, right? Somewhere in there, in any of these areas. But I'm cool like that, so I do what I want. So I hope I made no sense, and in that maybe we're able to make some sense of the real type, going a little beyond the aesthetic of the artwork. I'm going to be mixing some cadmium yellow with a bit of Viridian. Okay. There's many ways of holding the brush. I like to hold it this way just because it gives me much more control. But I like to do different stuff. This is just one way of doing it. And I want to make sure that the light is established, okay, somewhere around there. That makes it somewhat. It makes it in my mind. It makes me understand where things are placed. Okay, something like that, you guys. After some years of painting, some of this stuff is it feels like I'm winging it, but I assure you that I'm not. It just feels that way. It feels that way because when you're used to doing something, you have a sort of command over it, not in a forceful way, but you understand it. You understand what's happening, and it's a bit of flow that occurs. As I mentioned in other videos, you become, in a very strange way, you are not painting, you're just kind of helping, you know. You're helping that come out. It wants to be born. And you guys are witnessing its birth right here. I know it sounds a bit philosophical, or, you know, but I truly believe it. I truly believe it. I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't believe it. You guys are witnessing the birth of a painting. It wants to come out, and I am just its faithful servant, you know, to put it in a romantic way. I am not controlling it, although I use those words to say that that I'm one with it. Yeah. So are those people that ride horses. You know, if you ride a horse, you know you have to become one with it. You know, if you do it enough, you know that if you become an artist at riding horses, you know you have to become one. If you become an artist at doing anything, you have to be one with it. Okay. So it's sort of a. There's my dog. He noticed my wife and son coming back home. He's excited about it. This dog gets excited. Barking's his game. So yeah, it's happening like that. It's very very simple, you know, just to keep it happening. Sometimes I'll do more impasto. Impasto means thickness in paint. Okay. Sometimes I'll do more than other times. It just depends on the feeling. And when I talked about, you know, kind of winging it, that's what it looks like, or it can look like that. It's really also has to do with that. You're feeling, you know, at some point you're feeling. You learn how to feel what is necessary, right? Based on practice, of course. You know, whatever your thing is, whether it's oil painting, acrylic, or you're a photographer, musician, you know, you learn how to feel. You learn how to be in tune with it, right? So that's pretty much the way it's done. So. I find that fascinating. To me, sometimes it feels like you're knitting, you know? Like if I was I remember I used to see my grandmother when she was knitting something. And in a way, I was always fascinated by the way that she moved her hands in order to do it. Such artistry. And I was always fascinated by that. When I paint, that reminds me. Reminds me of that. Reminds me of your soul. There's something in the wrists. The magic is in the wrists. It's not in the fingers. It's not in the hands. It's in the wrists. There's something. I know it's cliche, but there's something happening in the wrist. Sort of intelligence happening there. I'm able to sense that when I paint, and I don't talk about, you know, I don't like to talk about like stuff that people maybe like. It's very. No, it's very natural. You're able to start sensing your body and what it's doing when you're doing, you know, when you're doing a particular task. I realize that the wrist is very magical. I don't know why. I didn't make, I didn't invent that. I don't know. It's just the way it is. It's how I feel it when I'm doing it. Sort of a play happening. Here we have some plums. So I allow the light to influence the surroundings. This is something that was done a lot during the Impressionist. I think it's called what is it called? Some sort of I forgot what it's called. It's where you mix paint without mixing it. You put it close with each other. There's a technical term for it that came up in the late 1800s. But so the eye blends it. You know, it's one of my favorite ways of applying paint. I like the eye to blend it. Most of the time when I apply paint, I don't. That's why I talk about not worrying so much about the palette that you use and how you mix paint. That will come natural. The hardest part, or the practice part, is knowing what color, knowing where to place the color. That is the hardest part. The application of the color is the hardest part. It's not, and it's not hard as in something, you know. It's just you have to silence the mind, and it's difficult to do that unless you rehearse it. You practice, and the mind will be silenced, and then you'll start creating artwork. That's the way I see it, anyways. It's not written in stone anywhere. It's just over the years. I paint every day. I work every day at this. Before I got paid for it, and now that I do it for a living, I do it even more. But before I did it for a living, I painted about 5-6 hours a day, and every single day, you know. And now, well, it's just such a rewarding thing to do that I will spend all day painting. I will spend 16 hours painting nonstop. You know, it's such a rewarding exercise. It's an exercise that belongs to all of us. You know, or every human being. Not painting, but whatever you do with attention. And the way you do it, it's not taught. I don't think it's taught. I think you discover it on your own. But it requires time. It requires time because you have to burn through the uncomfortableness of being in front of it so long. It becomes uncomfortable. You have to burn through that. It's a stage that you have to burn. And that stage can take you, I don't know, months, years, I don't know. Just depending on you. For me, it took me years. I've seen some people that maybe paint less or paint more, I don't know. It doesn't seem to bother them that much. But I went through a period of where it bothered me. Not painting, but there's an uncomfortableness in the mind doesn't want you to do it. Van Gogh talked about it. Everybody has talked about it. Manet said, only one thing is true, to paint immediately what you see. And he was referring to painting without the conscious, with the unconscious, your unconscious intelligence, with the silent aspect of you. I'm not talking about noise, I'm talking about noise in the head, not noise like physical noise or thinking. No thinking necessary. You know, some people say you have to think about it, and you have to think about it, and you have to, you know, and it's the opposite. What I try to tell people when I do this, when they see me painting, it's the opposite. It's not true. It's the opposite. Now, this is for me, guys. Okay, this I'm not, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say that this is the ultimate or the only way. No, there's many ways of skinning something. But what I do, the type of work, impressionism or expressionism that I like to do, I don't stay in one ism. I used to, but not anymore. Is by learning how to silence the mind a little bit, you know, or a lot, depending on. Learn how to silence it. It sort of becomes almost a spiritual thing without meaning to. There's not much. There's not much explanation behind it because there's not much thinking. Only thinking requires explanation. There's not much. I think that's the place that why they call Monet an eye. He was an eye, or why Cézanne said, "When I think, everything is lost." Or, you know, any of those artists, the thinking aspect will allow you to craft things. But I believe, based on my experience, that you will not see artwork using the thinking aspect. You will see pictures, you will see paintings, you will see drawings, you will see very beautiful, calculated stuff. But in my experience, you will not see artwork. Artwork shows up when the mind rests. If the mind's not resting, there's no artwork happening. There's craftsmanship happening. There's, you know, many things happening. But based on my experience, the mind needs to come down. Literally. Needs to rest. There's no need for it here. The mind's just another challenge here. People want to paint using the mind, and I certainly tried doing that. I think that's where we get the whole, when we get the whole idea of the artist in pain, I believe that it comes from that. It comes from the artist learning how to shut down the mind. That's why Van Gogh said, you know, don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. He said, when you hear a voice saying that you can't do it, don't listen to it. Everybody has pointed to it. They're trying to say, the thinker, the lizard brain, as Seth Godin, one of my favorite authors, calls it, the lizard brain, wants you to be miserable, wants to impose all the fears that you need to, attend. And when you're painting, you're like, did I miss this? Did I miss that? I did something wrong. Your mind, it's not your problem. It's everybody's problem. It's everybody's challenge. The mind wants to do that because the mind is how it's survived all these years. It's survived by being clever, by being intelligent that way. But here, that's not required. It may be required when you're learning, right? Mixing colors and blah, 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 composition. That aspect may be required. But the more you paint, as Picasso said, the more you want to be a childlike. Because the childlike doesn't have that judgment. The child thinks and believes and is sure that whatever he or she is doing is perfect. No judgment has been born. It hasn't arisen, right? We have it. We adults have it. We have shitloads of it. But children don't. That's why Picasso aimed at that. And I tell you, if you want to paint, if you truly want to paint, and those of you who see this, maybe you understand what I'm talking about. You've experienced it yourself. The good days when you paint, those good days, is because you cared about nothing. And now that might not be for everyone. That may not be everyone's experience. That's certainly been mine. This is Jose Trujillo. I'm an artist. I hope you guys enjoy this session. Painting with the Artist. Check it out. How's it going, Stella? Thank you so much for all those hearts. I hope you guys enjoy this painting. I will be posting some more tomorrow. Join me for the next session. I will be doing one early and one in the afternoon around this time. So check it out, guys. It's very fun. And share it if you love it. If you love what you see here, share it so that other people may also enjoy this good time, okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.